Hi, family. This is Steve Copeland for the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland for the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland for the Couch Conversation Show. Steve Copeland for the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland for the Couch Conversation. Steve Copeland for the Couch Conversation Show. Hey, family. Hey, family. Today, I want to touch on a little bit about men's mental health. I want to touch on a little bit about men's mental health. Hey, Candy. Um, I want to talk a little bit about men's mental health. I want that to sink in. I want it to sink in. Men's mental health. I'm gonna just say this right, because anytime I talk about stuff, um, I'll do a little research up on it. Don't get it wrong. Um, I will do research up on certain issues and topics or certain issues in life, right? Basically, all I'm trying to say, so that we'll know what to do as far as the working solution. You get me? Um, I don't want to knock a lot of our real educated people who's down with research, knowledge, statistics. I'm not real good with all that. I'm not real good with all that. This amount of people over here doing this and this amount of people over here doing that. I'm not good with a lot of that. So a lot of times when I do talk about topics, I always pray on top of that. And I'll ask God to decrease me, right? And increase him inside of me because I'm just a messenger. But when I ask God to decrease me, it's basically I'm saying move me out the way, right? And use me to get your message across. So now it dawned on me one day, right? I can ask him to decrease me and increase him in me. And you know what he tells me? Who else going to talk for me, Steve? But what he does, he gives me the courage. He gives me the confidence to thy own self to be true. See, I'm looking at how a lot of us are indoctrinated, right? If I don't open up my mouth to share with our men, women, children, how to overcome certain situations in life, then what am I good for? Huh? So a lot of y'all want to say his pride, his ego. What else? That's his courage. That's his confidence. And you know, when I said that, I went back to like Old Testament. And when they said the spirit like empowered them to share their experience, their strengths, and their hopes. whoever wrote the stories, let me put it like that, took the time out to share how God used them during that time. And it takes a lot of courage and confidence to be able to tell your story. So y'all want to sit back and say stuff like, oh, that's his ego, oh, that's his pride. In my mind, when y'all say that about me, I be like, yep. Because do you realize the courage and the confidence that it took, or it takes, to sit up here and tell y'all some of my deepest, darkest secret from my past up to my present. I ain't telling everybody my business. Everybody don't need to know that. They don't need to know that. And that is so true. But that's you. So if you come from a certain area in life where your life was truly destructive and God turned it around and opened up your eyes, and now you have gained, you seeing stuff that you used to didn't see. You get me? But you're doing something different about it in this new lifestyle. That plain and simple. Okay? That plain and simple. So when I talk about my past, right? Barbara Jean raised me very well with morals, values, principles, all of that. Once I was able to get out into the streets and basically live my own life, I went against a lot of the stuff that my mother taught me, but I never forgot them. I never forgot the morals, values, and principles. I just practiced another lifestyle. So when you hear somebody like a Dr. Martin Luther King right here talk, or when you hear somebody like a Malcolm X who had that street mentality, I'm talking about my character. I'm talking about my behaviors. I'm talking about how God turned it around. Can you? No. But you'll go back and talk about everybody else's story but your own. And I'm real proud of you, because you make me think you're running from you still. But then you want to blame it on the white man. Oh, the white man this and the white man that. I came out of school in the 10th grade. There wasn't no white man that told me to stop school. I came out. I made the conscious decision to come out of school in the 10th grade. When I was 35, I went back to school to get my GED. I was 2 points away from that 225, something like that, right? I was 2 points away from passing. But you know what got me? I felt good because I went back. Whether I got it or not, I went back to achieve it. Now, I admire people now, do not get it wrong, who goes back and you get letters behind your name and further educate yourself. Beautiful. That's encouragement for others. But when I can sit back and say, at 64 years old, I don't want for nothing. At 64 years old, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. At 64 years old, I'm at a point in my life where I'm more at peace than I ever been in my life. A lot of y'all can't understand that. You know why? Because you still trying to figure out your life. I'm in granddaddy mode. My goal is to enjoy my grandchildren, to enjoy my nieces and nephews' grandchildren. I mean children that I raise. So I can sit back now and I can look back out like this. I can look back out And a lot of y'all, you will not understand until you get to that point in your life. And you be like, wow. So look, this what popped in my head. What I just said out my mouth, because I'm right here, you won't even understand because you're not here. So first thing to come to your mind, because you in your 20s, you in your 30s, you in your 40s, you in your 50s, and you might see it in your 50s. Before you get to your 60s, you might already see what I'm talking about. And then you'll say something like this, I understand exactly where he's at. Because you see it for yourself. And I can sit back and say, wow. I remember fantasizing about this. Cooking Thanksgiving dinners, cooking Christmas dinners, having cookouts at your house, the family gathering, keeping the family together. And now the ones behind you are doing these things. And that's all you got to do is show up. If you want to bring a dish, you can bring a dish. If you choose to go, you can go. If you say, I'm going to go, but then change your mind and say, nope, I'm going to stay home. You can. A lot of y'all can't say that. But I can. I can say, bring me a plate. Bring me a piece of that pie. Bring me a slice of cake. Just to know that my family is enjoying each other's company is enough for me during the holidays and stuff like that. And throughout the years, I know they working, they independent, they taking care of their families. So a lot of times, no, we can't hook up like that the way we would really want to. I already know that. So talking about mental health, brothers, if you don't know where you came from, you won't know where you're going. If you don't know where you came from, you won't know where you're going. I was sharing with somebody a little bit earlier, right? There's a time to be born. I was born February the 20th, 1962. There's a time to be born. And there's a time you're going to die or be unalive. You're going to die. I'm looking back at myself, 64 Friday. I'm claiming it, yes. It's like I'm going like this now. Where am I going to go from here? And this, look, I'm at a point where it's just, I'm doing the best I can with what I have to prosper, don't get it wrong, but to leave a legacy behind for the children. Y'all don't understand that, do you? If God called me home right now, today or tomorrow, I know my name will carry on forever. I already know that. Because of the work I do around Baltimore City, I already know. Oh yeah, I remember your father. I remember that big mouth dude. I remember blah, blah, blah. I'm telling y'all, I already know. You ain't got to like me. I already know. Because of who I serve, gentlemen. And if you think you hurt my feelings by saying, oh yeah, his ego or his pride, you freaking right. Because I look at the courage, the confidence, the work that it took for me to not allow my self-esteem. That's what y'all miss. To not allow my self-esteem to keep me down. And another thing I learned in this process too, gentlemen, people going to say stuff to certain ones of us that stand up and fight for our civil rights, equal rights, and constitutional rights. Because you basically what you're saying, I want the best for my people because I want the best for me. And you know, in order for you to get the best out of life, you have to work for it. To accomplish things in life. Please tell me that's not true. So I can tell you right now, I retired at 58 from tractor trailer driving. You still working, right? What is you still trying to accomplish? Oh, check it out. I never look. I just knew I was gonna be still driving and drop hooking and stuff when I got into my 70s. I accepted the fact I was gonna drive tractor trailers till probably as long as I can, probably my 70s, 80s. God had other plans. I can tell y'all guys right now, you can quote scripture, you can quote Bible, you can say what you want. I did not plan for this life right here. That's how I know the difference between what I did and what God had me doing. I'm telling you. So when y'all hear me talk about scripture, when y'all hear me talk about my spiritual lifestyle, understand I had to get to know Steve. Now, I'm not trying to be smart. I love Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and all of them. I am a Martin Luther King, a modern day Martin Luther King. I am a modern day Malcolm X. I'm a modern day Marcus Garvey. So a lot of them that fought for us to live a better way of life, it's a lot of us that's doing it today. Y'all just don't recognize it because you're afraid to step up and do it yourself. I'm talking to my men, okay? Because we are kings. And it's not women, I'm sorry I say women, I ain't mean it like that. But our queens, y'all are the most vehicle things ever came in Steve Copeland life. Because I'm looking at my mother when I say that. Well, how she raised 7 children by herself. What I look like down in our women. I don't care what your lifestyle is. I don't care how many children you got. If I can create a program to help you to become more independent with the children you got, that's the goal. I watch my mother. So the goal with me, and thank you, God, Jesus, Lord, for giving me the courage, the strength, and the confidence to create opportunities to help mothers, single mothers, stand firm on their feet. Why are you yelling? Because that's ministry to me. Catch the love and the passion. I don't come on TikTok to create no messy TikTok platform. That's not what Steve Copeland is about. I'm on TikTok to promote and advertise my business in Baltimore City. And if you don't want to hear it, do not come over here. If you don't have no value or you don't have nothing to add to the conversation, do not come over here. Go on that messy TikTok stuff. I can tell y'all right now, and it's not my goal to sit up here and fatten up my pocket, but I done made more money since this other company done took over it than what I was getting before. And it's not about the money, not in that sense. It's about putting the message out. Y'all the one comes over here and want to come up with these messy prompts and sloppy prompts. That's not where my spirit is at. That's not where I'm at. But that's what y'all are trying to put me in that category. Oh yeah, he did, he that. No, he's not. Oh, he'll big mo dude. Do y'all know the courage and the confidence it takes? Mainly when you coming up against the system. So y'all run off at your mouth, right? And I ain't talking about my brothers. When you already know that there's a system put in place to enslave and oppress the people. The goal is to come up with ways and means to help break it. That's not what y'all talk about. You talk about stuff to keep people enslaved and oppressed. Well, the white man this and the white man that. You got some black conservatives don't want to see y'all make it. I know it because I'm in it. I see what's going on. So I can't jump on that side. I got children. I got grandchildren. My children grown. Been to private school and all that stuff. But y'all don't want to hear that. You only want to hear, well, see, back in the Jim Crow days, 300 years ago, and be honest, slavery was only for 200 and something years. Started from, did they say, from 1619. No. Slavery started back from Egyptian time. When God told Moses, go tell Pharaoh, I said, let my people go. Oh, y'all didn't think I knew that one, huh? Oh, let my people go. Y'all talking about 300 years ago. When God told Moses, go tell Pharaoh, I said, let my people go. They're not your people. That's the same things I say to our politicians and our organized teachers, organized religion that tends to enslave and oppress the people. God said, let his people go. They're not yours. Y'all can't even catch the two of what I'm saying. That's why I yell the way I do. That's why I talk the way I do, because it's ministry for me. Why you yelling? Because I don't need a mic in front of me. It's my big mouth. Men, and I'm saying this for our brothers, for our kings, for our gentlemen. Stand firm on your morals, your values, your principles. When I can sit here and say, Brandon Scott, I love you, bro. When I can sit here and say, Ivan Bates, I love you, bro. When I can sit here and say, Westmore, I love you, bro. I understand y'all got a job to do just like Steve Copeland got a job to do. I understand their hands are tied because everybody got somebody over top of them. So they do the best they can with the information that they have. I didn't understand that at first. I understand it now. And for a lot of y'all that don't understand, you know this is a spiritual battle. Good and evil. You pick what side you choose, what side you choose to serve. It's about good and evil. A lot of y'all want to straddle the fence. You pick a side to walk on. Either you're going to be with evil or you're going to be with good. Don't put me in between y'all bull crap, because I was taught about not straddling the fence. Don't get mad with me. That's why I say, Brandon, you know I love you, bro. Antonio Hayes, I say that because these are the politicians in Baltimore City. And they doing the best they can for the people. If you don't support your elected officials and what they're doing, they're going to go the opposite way. Because you're not standing behind them. So the opposition going to come for them. I ain't understand none of that until some years ago. And then we want to sit back, like Brandon Scott's supposed to be everywhere. I felt the same way too, y'all. Don't get it wrong. Like Brandon Scott's supposed to be all over the place. Westmore. And I'm looking at our politicians, right? And then I'm looking at our polices. They can't police every area in Baltimore City. That's why you have nonprofits, organizations to create some to create some solutions. How do I know that? Because that's what I did. And get laid out every time. Because you challenge your own people. You challenge your own people to do the right things for themselves. And what they have a tendency of doing, they'll lay your butt out because they're afraid to stand up for their goddamn selves. And I realized that. It's not being smart. It takes a lot of courage and confidence to stand firm. And I do not like when I hear y'all do this. The white man this and the white man that. You only making your people feel more intimidated. Do you realize that? That's mental and emotional. Mental, and spiritual abuse. Because you steady saying, and the white man, see, the YT won't let us do this. And the YT. You falling into that daggone Jim Crow bull crap. And don't even realize you're doing it. The white man. And see the white system. Do y'all realize we had black slave owners back during the day? So do you really do your research that you try to say you do? Do y'all realize that we had, back during the days, we had black slave owners? Look them up. Look them up. Because I get sick and tired of hearing y'all saying certain things when you don't stand up and fight. Look them up. We had black slave owners too. And if you understand the point of why they went over to Africa and brought the slaves back, it was already black people here getting paid to work the land. That goes to show me how much a lot of y'all know. But they found out a way to get it done a lot cheaper, basically for free. And I'm sharing this mainly with my brothers, right? Because this Mental Health Monday, to help y'all understand. If you don't know where you came from, how can you stand up for yourself? Now, I love when you try to challenge me. Because one thing about Steve Copeland had to get to know Steve Copeland, not based around Jim Crow, Albert Einstein, not based around Adam and Eve, not based around 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 years ago. I was born in 1962. I can only take it from there on up. But y'all ain't even 30, 40 years old, and you all the way back doing Jim Crow. Adam and Eve. Thinking that slavery only started in 1619. You better look up the what is that? 1591. You better keep going, because you keep digging and digging and digging. But guess what? Dig all you want. My thing is, what can we do to break the cycle? Come on, Substance. Oh, hold up. I got to turn this up. Come on, Queen.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I had to turn it up.
Oh, the volume. I said, what can we do to break the cycle is getting them books.
That one too, but now look, that's true. That's why I said, you know what? It's good to have the information, but you got to apply it.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that's where it starts. It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Because
I saw that movie. I saw that new Medea movie. Joe takes his his grandson to cross country, and you know it was a lot of stuff to unpack on that, man. He took him to Money, Mississippi, you know, where Emmett Till got drowned, and you know, the thing about it is his grandson was whitewashed. Because his father put him in private school with all the white tea folks. So he didn't really know his history for real. And so he took them all throughout the South, throughout all the, you know, famous landmarks, historical landmarks of our times as Black folks. And yeah, he didn't know where he was at. You know, and it was just looking at that, watching that movie, these are how these kids are now. They don't know about that history. And it's like the thing that I see on these apps or on these lives is, should we still learn about Black history since our, you know, since it's, you know, it's good for us now. And it's like, you know, you still Black, right? You know, I don't think racism is going to be something that ever goes away. I think we just need to be more aware of it and, you know, see it coming when it does come. Because I feel like the more we get watered down with our history and we don't educate ourselves to know, it's gonna be easier for them to take advantage of us and put us back in them Jim Crow times.
You know, when I looked up the word racism, right? Well, when I look at, I'm gonna say racism, I see the word hatred. And when I say that, I'm looking at people's behaviors, right? So everybody want to do the definition of racism, right? But when I look at racism, I look at hatred, right? Because you got to look at the character of the individuals that feel that way. Did you notice I just said individuals? And the reason why I say that, because to me, the way we're treating each other, we are the most racist goddamn people you ever want to meet. But we'll sit back and say, no, we're not. But look what we're doing to ourselves. So I'm looking at the word, when I say that, I'm looking at hatred. But now it's more like, how can you work to change that around, right? And I'm gonna say this too, and what really helped me with this, when I read Marfa 21 Black Genocide, right? And I read up about the lady Margaret Sanger and the stuff that she was doing with ABs, right? And not only that, what disappointed me too, they called her the modern day Hitler. I didn't realize Hitler took out just as many blacks as he did the Jews. And when I read that, I got a little disappointed. Not only that, when I found out that the NAACP was a part of that, that's why I wouldn't represent the NAACP. See, people run off at their mouth, but they don't understand why, right? And I never, even though as a civil rights advocate, I know people that's with the NAACP, but I choose not to become one of them when I read that story, right? Now, I'm fighting for our civil rights, equal rights, and constitutional rights. That's why I got with Communities United. Communities United is the Baltimore branch of the Center for Popular Democracy. They just don't fight for black people's civil rights. They fight for people's rights as a whole. But in Baltimore City, we fight for the democracy of the black people in the poor community. So anytime I would speak out on certain things, a lot of people couldn't understand why. My director at Communities United was a white woman, which to me, she should not have been in that position. Because to me, she didn't understand the struggle of the black person. But her goal was to help us learn a lot more about what's going on with us. And I learned a lot from that. I learned a lot. I spoke out at a lot of places. We even went to Detroit, Michigan one year to help fight for the rights. And I keep on thinking, I keep thinking, um, uh, I believe it was the Hispanics, right? And that's when I realized, and I moved out of that box. Black people not the only people that they discriminate against. And that taught me right then and there when we went to Detroit. And I'm talking about Communities United in Us. That took me out of that. So what I started doing, I started looking up, is 5 ethnic groups that suffer the most. I believe they was the Hispanics that we went to Detroit and fought and marched for them, did a rally and everything. So, and this was some years ago. I got the videos and everything, but that taught me from that day forth, Black people ain't the only people that they discriminating against. It's just that we cry the loudest rather than getting out there fighting for the things, the changes that we want. And that's when I stopped. That's when I stopped, because I realized it's not just us. And then when we go to the, say like when we go to the have and the have nots, when I read that documentary, it taught me it's a lot of Black conservatives that do not want to see Black people succeed too. I was like, God darn it. And I'm going to tell you this, a lot of them are your Republicans, because I know a lot of them here in Baltimore City. That's why I jump on their butts. Because number one, y'all made me feel like y'all was for your people. Y'all a bunch of butt kissing, blah, blah, blah. And I had to move away from them. But now, I respect where they at. So that's why I said a lot of us, we talk a good game. But until you in it, to see what's happening for yourself, you be like, wow. Either you're going to be a part of the bull crap, or you're going to be the one that try to help break that cycle, and you will become ostracized, if that's the word, cast out. You will. Because I seen what happened with me, and I see what happened with other people that actually stand up to fight for our civil rights, equal rights, and constitutional rights. That's why if you hear me say it's like good and evil, because we already know it's by design. It's just certain things I can't really say for TikTok's sake. Certain things I can't really say for for Facebook, because Facebook used to flag me a lot. And I just sent some messages over not too long ago to see do Facebook still have me flagged like they used to. See, people, if you're not into doing this stuff to see what's happening, you won't really understand. And it's not just us. It's basically your people that need the state and the government assistance the most, that they put their foot on your necks. So yeah, I just wanted to clear that up with that, right? Some things I try not to say substance, because I know for myself, when I tell y'all I became under attack, because I'm doing just what I do now. Once you put your voice out there, you get flagged. And that's why I laugh when I hear a lot of people talk, because they got great information, they have great knowledge. I hear all of that. But my thing is, what is you doing since you have that information to break that cycle? They're never answered if they're not involved in certain, I'm going to say with certain groups, because you can't do it by yourself. You know, you can't do it. You got to get with some of these groups that does. Like people might say a protest don't matter, a rally doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Your voice matters. That's why I come on here. I ain't got to be in front of the crowd all the time. I tell everybody I come right on my platform. And because I know, number one, I'm being seen all over the world. That's how I communicated with other people in other cities, countries that's doing what we're doing here. But you got to get your voice out there. So yeah, I listen to people, Queen. I listen. And I'm listening because of the knowledge and the information that you have. But then it's like I'm trying to hear, what are you doing with all of that to help break that cycle? As far as when I look at it, it's enslaving the people and oppressing the people. And I realize they're not all black. They're not all black. We'll make it like that. But well, let me be honest. When I got locked up, um, it'll be 3 years in March. And God showed me how organized. That's why I said, watch the words. Organized religion and politics is the same things. It keeps the people enslaved and oppressed. And when I realized that from reading back what God showed me, they aren't all black. It's basically the higher uppers taking advantage of the low. Wait, I'm trying to get that word right. It's like the higher, look, the haves and the have-nots. And I start realizing they ain't all black. I mean white, I'm sorry. That's doing that. I was like, So when you hear me say certain things, it's not just geared towards and I don't want to just say race, because we're looking at the human race. You get me? When I say like ethnicity and stuff like that, because I'm looking at the have and the have nots. And it's other people that taught me of different nationalities. Y'all ain't the only one that suffered. I was like, and all of this taught me to shut my mouth, shut up, stop complaining. Because I had to realize, every race or nationality has their own struggles. And once again, I don't care what culture you're from. It's always billionaires, millionaires that's up. And the goal is to keep the have-nots down. But the have-nots is very important to those that have, because you can only keep them up there if you didn't support what they're doing. And once I started seeing a lot of that, I began to do the opposite. Is to empower our people. Everybody not gonna be business people, but it's to break that slave man mentality. Come on. I didn't lose you there. But look, that's what we gotta do. I just don't like the fact that we have a wealth of information. I don't hold a lot of that stuff in my head. I don't. I did say one day I'm gonna go look up this Jim Crow bull junk, right? Because I hear people talking about Jim Crow. I don't give a freak about Jim Crow. It's what we can do now. That's what I look at. Once you already know how we're being set up, not to be able to accomplish nothing in life. It's like, how can you go around that? That's where my mind is at. Anybody I sit with business-wise and all that, my mind goes. It's like, what can we do to it goes into solutions. And it ain't nobody but God. It's like, this what you can do over here to slow this down. This what you can do over here to stop this right here. Because we know everything is not going to just stop. It's like gaining control over it. And when I'm sitting with a group of people that's like that, I can sit like this, and my mind will go, and just start calculating. And that's God. Where I'll start looking at the solutions on things. And I realized that's not what they trying to hear. They don't, a lot of them make money off our pain and misery. So sometimes you just got to get the job done, get it done. You just get it done. Now, just throwing some stuff at you, Substance. And I see B-Box just came up in KY, but I ain't wanted to share that too deep, but that's where my mind go. That's why our politicians call me the connector, because they know anytime I'm sitting with them, stuff will come in my head and they go, and I say, well, we can do this right here, we can do that right there. And then I realize you have some that wants the solution, wants to break certain cycles, and you got some that really don't give a freak. And you have to respect them for where they at and just stand firm on your stuff and not sell your people out when you know what's actually happening to your people. That's just where I'm at. Come on, somebody else. Talk to me.
Greetings, B-Box. K, Mrs. K, how you doing, lovely lady? How's everybody doing? Hello.